Hi, this is Sweet Life and I'm Natasha, sharing my experience and tips for visiting the Ruby Slipper Café in New Orleans' French Quarter. New Orleans is just one of these places that constantly pops up in discussions about food, particularly in America. The opportunity to visit just hadn't presented itself for me until 2021. Before going on the trip, I asked a few co-workers as well as looked up online for places to check out, as a big part of travel for me is food. A co-worker suggested that I check out the Ruby Slipper Café, as she had visited New Orleans on a number of occasions, had been to this particular cafe, which is a breakfast spot, on multiple occasions, and had always had positive experiences. When we arrived at the cafe, it was just two of us. Quite a number of the other groups that were waiting were larger, and we were able to kind of squeeze in within a reasonable amount of time. I can't remember exactly how long it might have taken us, but it was maybe like 15-20 minutes to get seated. In the meantime, I took advantage of the opportunity to take pictures, shoot video, things like that, knowing that I was going to want to do a write-up later on. So it worked out pretty okay for me. The hostess, I don't remember her name at this point, but she was really great, very welcoming. When we actually returned the next day, she remembered my mom's name. My mom had gone and, spoken to her to put our name down for the wait list. Once we got into the restaurant, it's like a nice open space, bright, vibrant interior, very welcoming decor. Sort of what you would think of New Orleans as being. Just this bright interior, very welcoming. The staff in the first 2 days were very welcoming. We went for a total of 3 days. It's not a super big place, but it's nice, comfortable, clean, cool experience. Typically, I'm not a big coffee drinker, but when I'm on vacation, I tend to drink cappuccinos, largely because I go to restaurants, I see other people drinking them, I think they look pretty nice, and so I want one too. I enjoyed this cappuccino, and I think I had one each morning. Not too sweet, not too strong a coffee flavor, just right. Something hot in the morning to get you going. The first day, my mom ordered the huevos rancheros, which is like a Mexican farmer's breakfast. In this case, the Ruby Slipper Café's version, at that time, I think it's changed a little bit since then, was fried eggs served on a bed of rice with beans and some other fixings like avocado, pepper, onion, salsa, as well as fried green plantains. It's a pretty filling breakfast, like a full-on meal. I tasted just a bit of it, and it has like that Tex-Mex flavor, but like in breakfast form. Really nice. You get a good portion. I think for most people, you're certainly going to be full after eating this. It's served up on like a stark white plate, as are most of the other dishes, but it has like really nice, vibrant colors. If not heavy, it's actually very filling. You eat this, and it's certainly going to carry you through lunch. For myself, I took advantage of their options for Eggs Benedict. They have seemingly at any time maybe like 4 to 5 different types of Eggs Benedict. I went with the crab cake and tasso pork. And it's like, if you think of your regular Eggs Benedict, where you have maybe an English muffin or a biscuit, the traditional version is topped with ham, a poached egg, and then hollandaise sauce. In this case, I got the tasso pork, which is like slow roasted pulled pork. And it was then topped with the poached egg, hollandaise sauce. But I chose to mix it up a little bit, which is an option they offer. And for my second Eggs Benedict, instead of getting 2 of the same thing, I got the crab cake. And this crab cake had like a good amount of crab in it. Sometimes you get crab cakes and it's more saltine crackers or breadcrumbs than anything else. But I remember this crab cake having a good amount of crab to it, having like a good flavor to it. The tasso as well had really good flavor. I'm not too big on runny yolks, but they were able to poach the eggs just right for me. Overall, everything tasted really great. It's not too expensive or anything like that. You, by the end of the meal, felt satisfied. On the second day, when we went back, we had a better idea of how things would function. And I want to say we got ourselves onto the waiting list. So we got into the restaurant even more quickly. And this time we were able to be seated at a table near the window. My mom wanted to try something different, and I did as well. She typically likes to get shrimp or fish and grits for breakfast when we go out, like on vacation. In this case, she got grits and like a tasso pork kind of thing. So stewed pork, sort of along the lines of what I got the first day, but stewed pork with grits, some fried onions, and then a fried egg on top. I tried a bit of it. It had good flavor. The grits were nice and creamy. Fried egg is fried egg. Not that impressive, but the grits and the pork were actually really good. I opted for something a little sweeter this time around. I love French toast, and typically when I'm on vacation, I'm going to have that on at least one of the days. And the Ruby Slipper, they actually do something where they have your standard French toast, but then each season they do a stuffed French toast, and the filling varies, depending on the time of year. So when we visited, it was in November, and during that time of year, it's fall, not quite winter as yet. And so you have a lot of pumpkin at that time. They had a few different items on the menu with pumpkin spice or pumpkin flavored things. And so I got the pumpkin French toast, which is French toast that comes out and it's stuffed with this pumpkin puree. When you bite into it, it's not overly sweet, but it's like, if you think of pumpkin pie filling. I know there's this whole thing between pumpkin versus sweet potato pie, but put that aside for a moment, because I actually think the two are quite similar. It has this nice, rich, thick, creamy texture, and it's sweet, but not overly sweet. It's not overwhelmingly sweet. It has just like a nice warm flavor to it. If you think of like pumpkin spice, which is like cinnamon, nutmeg, these warm spice flavors, you get all of that within this French toast. What you would expect from French toast, this nicely textured bread with a little bit of the crust outside, dusted with some powdered sugar, this kind of custardy feel to it. The combination I'd never thought of before. Like, I've done other things with pumpkin, like I've done pumpkin waffles, sweet potato waffles, but I hadn't thought to do like a stuffed French toast. I think this was actually my first time having a stuffed French toast, and it works. It's like you get this nice creamy filling. It's not like runny or anything like that. The bread wasn't soggy, but it made for like a nice combination of flavors. Very enjoyable. And we went back 3 times. I ended up ordering that twice. The only negative that I would say about visiting was the last time when we visited the restaurant. I ordered the French toast. I got it with bacon, but then also ordered a poached egg on the side. They didn't bring it out at the same time with the other stuff. And it's like I kept reminding them about it, asking for it. And it's like by the time they brought it out, I was done eating my French toast and I was full. But it's a cool place to visit. The food was really good. You have a lot of options. I think that for most people, you'd be able to find something on the menu that you'd like. And granted, it's been a little bit under like 2 years now since I visited, but I would think that the food should still be pretty good and you should have a positive experience if you check it out. Know before you go. If you happen to be in New Orleans, there's 3 different locations. They're spread out. There's one in the French Quarter, another a few minutes walk to the other side of Canal Street, and a third a few minutes walk from Esplanade Avenue just outside the French Quarter. But what I would suggest is to learn from my mistake. Check the website, go ahead and make a reservation, add yourself to the wait list if possible, especially if you're in town during a time when there's an event. So like Essence, Jazz Festival, Mardi Gras, or even the Falcons versus the Saints game, just because there'll be a lot of other people milling about, and this should allow you to not waste your time standing in line. The weekend when I visited, it happened to be the same weekend of the Falcons versus Saints game. And so there were a lot of people in town for the game. The wait staff, the service, all of that were really nice as well, at least on the first 2 days. And the food was really good. We ended up going back to the Ruby Slipper Café for the remaining mornings that we were in town. We checked out a few other places, but that ended up being the best option. We sat at the bar on one day, had a table another day, and then the last day we sat at the bar again. And so pretty much we ended up having the same wait staff on the first 2 days. It was a really great experience with regards to both the food and the service we received, but things were a little bit different on the last day we were in town. We spent less time waiting to get seated in the restaurant, but there was quite a bit of a wait for the food. I ordered French toast on the last morning, and like I said, the poached egg that I ordered in addition to it didn't come out until I was pretty much finished with my meal. In addition, we were seated at the bar again, which was fine. But on this day, the lady behind the bar was making drinks and whatever else she was doing, prepping and stuff. And she kept spraying water in our direction and just really making a mess. And we'd sat there on one of the previous mornings where there were 2 people behind the bar, and they were far neater and never splashed anything on us. And she was a little bit flippant about it and kind of cute about it, and I didn't really like it. Overall, I would say that the food is good, but the service can be a little less consistent depending on, what's going on in town and I guess who's working that day.
Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, go ahead and click that thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.